Well, welcome and thank you for joining us for another episode of Catholicism Unwrapped. I'm Father Andy Vogel.
And I'm Father Andy Beerman.
In this episode, we are talking about the just war theory.
Just war theory. Yeah, that's right. We are your hosts, Father Andy the Greater and Father Andy the Lesser.
Buckle up, we've got a lot to cover. This is Catholicism Unwrapped. So is it like just a theory?
It's just dealing with war theory.
Oh.
It's like
that's not quite what it meant.
It's
but
like
that's
the
hilarious.
just prayer. Lord, we just ask you. We just ask you.
I do that all the time. Did you know that? Like when I pray, I use the word "just" like way too often. And I blame it on my Protestant days.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but if you ever heard me pray, then you probably do. But
other people pray that way too.
I know, but I think it's
like you don't want to bother God. We're just asking you for a small favor.
I'm not asking for anything massive.
We're not trying to put you completely out of your.
Oh my goodness, hilarious. Okay, well, anyways,
the just war theory.
Yeah, and so what have we been up to though?
Oh, what have we
golfing
been up to
today?
Yes, that's true.
Very windy.
Extremely.
Over 20 mile an hour wind. Yeah. Sustained.
We should have had a record for drive, but we didn't.
I hit 1:307.
Couldn't pull it together.
Like good, but
yeah, that's pretty.
It's not a record.
Yeah.
So, but, and yeah, Father's
Jeff
Brian
Dobbs.
Mulligan and Jeff Dobbs joined us. So also shout out to Mike Brinkman. It's his 58th birthday today.
Oh, it is today.
So he's a friend of mine from Jackson, Minnesota.
Okay.
So I don't know if he listens to our podcast. I really doubt it. He doesn't seem to be very much of a podcast person.
Yeah.
So, but I asked him if he was golfing today. He said he's watching his daughter play golf.
Oh, okay. So that's a good birthday present.
Yes. Yeah. So anything else we need to talk about our current lives or current events?
Well, we just had First Holy Communion in our parish, which was very nice.
Yeah, very nice. Good. Good.
Yeah, it's an inspiration to see the children and their desire
for the Eucharist. Yeah, like we should have that desire every Mass. Like it should be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, should we dive into this?
So, well, I mean, I guess so. I don't want to hit my head.
I had dive into the book. Okay. That's like that old joke. Care to join me in a bowl of soup? I doubt we'd both fit into that same bowl.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a pretty big bowl.
Yeah. So we had contemporary ethical issues in philosophy class. I don't know if you had that.
No, we were not as cool as you were.
Did you do it in moral ethics, or what did they call it?
I think we just counted to 10.
Oh, you didn't have that class?
I think we had an ethics class, but
yeah.
But yeah, it probably was not as in depth as you had in Rome.
Well, no, I'm talking about St. Mary's University.
Oh, no. I think as a pre-theologian, maybe I got to skip that class.
Okay. So
I think we had an ethics, like it was a philosophy class, so I think it was an ethics class.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Contemporary ethical issues, I think was the title.
I don't know. I remember that long title. I think.
But they had a book called Fagathy's Right and Reason. Do you remember that one? And so they went over like probably modern ethical issues like bioethics and one of the things that was covered was the just war theory.
Oh, good.
And so in there they said that there's actually two streams of tradition coming through the church.
Yes.
One is the pacifist.
Yep.
That based on the words of Jesus, if someone strikes you on your cheek, you should turn and offer the other.
Yeah, and wasn't there like stories, legends of like Roman soldiers converting to Christianity and like laying down their, what would you call it, arms, their swords or whatever, because of, I don't know, the pacifism or whatever that Christianity demanded of them.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's some of the saints too in their stories of conversion. They originally were soldiers.
Yes. Yeah.
Like Saint Ignatius.
Yep.
Saint Francis.
Yep.
And maybe others who set aside their winning glory in the war,
the military,
in order to follow Christ.
Yeah.
And I think there is a tradition for that too, which is the St. Paul describing the spiritual battle that we're engaged in. You know, we're not fighting against flesh and blood, which means other human beings.
Yes. Yeah.
But powers and principalities.
Yeah.
So the real fight is against evil, and and it's not really a solution to end evil by going to some other country and killing people.
Yes.
You know, we've tried that many times, and unfortunately, evil is still with us.
Yes. Yeah. I think, wasn't there like, I mean, a pipe dream or whatever you want to call it, a dream that World War II was going to be like the war that ended all wars or something?
That's what they said, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the Pope at the time, when they saw the atrocities committed in the concentration camps and so forth, said, never again.
Yeah.
Let us remember this so that we don't ever do it again. Yeah. The millions of people that were killed in that war.
Yeah.
And people who have fought in wars would say that as well. Like I would never want to do this again.
Yeah.
Leaving them with PTSD and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like, you know, as that generation kind of dies off, there's like a desire to go to war again with people who have never experienced it.
Yeah. I would agree with that to some extent.
And how terrible it is.
Yeah.
So the other tradition, though, is that we do have a right and maybe even an obligation to self-defense.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is, if someone is attacking us or our family, that we can use equal force up to what they're using to defend ourselves.
I mean, it should be obvious by now, but I have a horrible memory. But I thought we talked about this in a previous episode where
we did. Yeah.
Like if an intruder comes into your house, you can use, what is the phrasing, necessary force to stop them. So if they're coming in with like a butter knife, you know, probably shooting them is probably not just.
Right. Well, you could shoot them in the leg or something.
Okay. I mean, just saying a butter knife is not very.
Right. Yeah.
You know, machete might be a little bit different.
But they could kill you even with their hands and with a knife. So So it's, I guess it's like equal force with what they may be threatening, and you don't always know what that is. Like, do they intend to kill you? Or?
Yeah, and maybe they're even like, mad or whatever. They might have, I don't know, what do you call it, like superhuman strength or whatever too. And so you also have to account for that.
Right. Yeah, so in the catechism, it goes into, there is...
so even this intruder thing would kind of fall under the just war theory, right?
Just war falls under self-defense.
Yeah, self-defense.
And that means a nation has a right to defend itself from an unjust aggressor.
Yeah, and so you can never be an aggressor and fall under the just war theory at the same time, right?
In general, it's defending yourself from harm.
Yep.
But I think the question always is there such a thing as a preemptive just war?
Yeah, and if I remember right, and I think we talked about this before too, like when was that, like the 90s or whenever that was? No, like right after, I think it was right after 9/11.
The Desert War.
We went to
war with Iraq.
Iraq, and it was the Vatican or whatever deemed it as just because at the time we thought there were weapons of mass destruction,
right?
And it was considered defensive, even though we were kind of attacking another nation on their soil before they used it. Yeah. It was considered just because it was used to mitigate the threat. Now it was later found out there were not any weapons of mass destruction, but we didn't know that at the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, if there is the threat of grave evil, then you could go to war to end that threat, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, and the same argument, that would be the argument, right, for World War II, right, is that Nazi Germany was doing atrocious things, or the Axis or whatever, and so we could go to Europe and help defend the people, the Allies or whatever, from the atrocities, the concentration camps and all these other things that the Axis were doing.
Right. Yeah. So in that case, it's one country coming to the aid of another and helping defend them. Yeah. And that's applies also to your family. Like they might not be attacking you, but they're attacking one of your family members, like your children. You have probably an obligation to
at that point
come to their defense.
Yes. Yeah. So what are the rules or regulations of the just war theory?
Okay, so it's spelled out in the Catechism, and I think this the theology of this comes to us from Saint Augustine, actually.
Okay.
Who first came up with it. And so
formulated it.
The fact that they put it in the Catechism means it's not anymore just a theologian's opinion.
Yeah.
It's become the teaching of the church. Yeah.
Yes.
So there are strict conditions so it says legitimate defense by military force.
Yep.
And so then these are the conditions that have to be applied.
Yes.
So the first one is, go ahead.
The damage inflicted by the aggressor on the nation or community of nations must be lasting, grave, and certain. So
that's all three of those things: lasting, grave, and certain. So that one about Iraq, it was not certain.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So these are conditions that would have to be determined by those who are in the know, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. With military intelligence and all that.
Yeah. So people in government. Mm-hmm. Right. When we're talking about one nation, defending another nation, we're in the realm of governments.
Right.
So in our government, that would be the president, heads of the military.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if it says here, but it has to be declared by a legitimate authority.
Yes. Yeah.
Meaning you can't take it upon yourself to say, I'm going to war with this country.
Yes. Yeah.
Or even the vigilantes, who say, well, the police aren't acting here, so I'm going to take it upon myself to start killing people and defending our nation or whatever.
Yeah.
So the next one is all other means of putting an end to it must have been shown to be impractical or ineffective. In other words, there has to be some kind of negotiating, diplomacy, putting pressure on. I guess that we've done that a lot with economic sanctions.
Yes. And so all of those need to be exhausted before going to war.
Right. For it to be legitimate.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
There must be serious prospect of success.
Right. So
otherwise you're just wasting resources and lives.
And killing more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like we've talked about this before, but if a huge country attacked like New Zealand or something like that, and they had no one to help them, for them to go to war and kill people would be no serious prospect of success. Yeah. And so it would be better for them to surrender, I guess, in that case, in order to save lives. Okay. All right. And then next, the use of arms must not produce evils and disorders graver than the evil to be eliminated. The power of modern means of destruction weigh very heavily in evaluating this condition.
Yeah. So the church has said that basically that any use of atomic weapons is
not just.
Not just.
Yeah, because it's just killing indiscriminately on a wide scale.
Yeah. And we'll get to that later. It talks about combatants and non-combatants.
Right.
And with atomic bombs, they're just so powerful that they can't just target combatants.
Right. Yeah, I guess along those lines, with modern means, it seems like they've been able to be more precise in attacking their weapons and their
Desert Storm or whatever,
their soldiers.
Smart weapons using GPS.
Right.
They're able to be more precise.
Yeah, you're not accidentally destroying schools or other buildings or civilians.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the not produce evils graver than the evil to be eliminated. In other words, that there's hope of success, and that actually the end result will be better than just letting the war take its course.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is slightly interesting because that's been one of the arguments for using the atomic. I mean, I'm not saying that I disagree with the church. I just say, like, in general, like that was one of the arguments for using the atomic bomb at the end of World War II, is that it shortened the war and saved lives in the end.
Right. Yeah, that was the argument at the time. But
but the fallout of what you call it, the nuclear radiation and the lives lost, even in that, like, it's just the fallout is just so huge.
Right. And then there's always the debate about whether they were ready to surrender or not. Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
And could they have started with one and then gone from there instead of using two right away?
Yeah.
That could be a question.
Yep.
All right. So going down to there is it's the legitimate authority of the government or the leader of the nation to declare war according to their laws, whatever that is. So for our country, I think the president can engage in armed conflict, but to declare war, it has to be an act of Congress.
Yes. Yep.
And so, that's always, I think there's more specific guidelines for that, but I don't think it's just semantics, like just say, well, this is armed conflict, not a war, so I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think sometimes our leaders are borderline done.
Yeah, because like the Korean War, it was
the Korean conflict.
The Korean conflict.
Because Congress never declared war.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then why don't you look at 23:12.
The church and human reason both assert the permanent validity of the moral law during the armed conflict. The mere fact that war has regularly broken out does not mean that everything becomes licit between the warring parties.
Yeah, and I think that was in the Desert Storm as well, like torturing of prisoners. It's still not acceptable.
Yeah, we have to abide by the respect of humanity.
Yeah,
and modern warfare was like the Geneva Convention.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which talks about war crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so it spells that out. Non-combatants, wounded soldiers, and prisoners must be respected and treated humanely. So to recognize the human dignity of the person. And then this is a question. The next paragraph is about the German soldiers, the Nazis, for example, who said we had to follow orders. Were they responsible for what they did, or are they off the hook because someone else commanded them?
The church has always said we are responsible for our own actions. That we all have free will and reason.
Right.
And so we should use that reason to say, like, maybe this isn't good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the reason is applying these principles of just war.
Yeah.
Like the Nazis, to say putting people into a concentration camp and then like beating them to death and all those things.
Gassing them to death.
That's outside the bounds of treating people humanely.
Yes.
So actions deliberately contrary to the law of nations, that's like the Geneva Convention, and to its universal principles are crimes, as are the orders that command such actions. Blind obedience does not suffice to excuse those who carry them out. Thus, the extermination of a people, nation, or ethnic minority must be condemned as a mortal sin. One is morally bound to resist orders that command genocide. So that's... A just war is much different than genocide, which is wiping out a people.
Yeah. Yeah. Just war is usually, almost always a defense of one's own nations. And so you're not trying to like wipe someone out or take over a nation. You're just defending your own nation.
Right. And you're fighting against military personnel.
Yeah.
For the most part, not like the whole nation.
Yeah, almost always the attacking nation could not declare that their side was a just war, right? Because just war is usually about defense. Attacking, almost always about defense.
Unless you're preventing an evil that you foresee that is lasting, grave, and certain. I guess. So I don't know if there's anything more in the catechism on that topic, but it does talk about modern scientific weapons. Yeah. Atomic, biological, chemical weapons. These are extremely dangerous and should not be used.
Yeah. It also talks about the production and sale of arms.
Right.
That can be done again to create a defense, right?
Right. Pope John the 23rd wrote a document in 1953, I think it was, Pacem in Terris, peace on earth. And the question that he raised is, if we look at the history of the world, it seems like there's always wars going on. Yeah. And it just continues even till today. Yeah. And so is it even possible to have peace? That's the question. Yeah. And I think he says, yes, it is possible. If we surrender to Christ, because what is it that causes war? According to the book of James, it's our passions. We're fighting over things that we want. Yeah. Whether it's more land or to control people. Yeah. Or to impose our will on others, and using death to do it. That is, all of that can be summed up in excessive attachment to our own will. Yeah, mm-hmm. And so the way to peace, is through Jesus, who says, "My peace I give you, not as the world gives peace, do I give it to you," which means. That's going back to the philosophy. Peace is not just the absence of war or conflict, but the tranquility of order. Yeah. Meaning our wills are ordered towards God's will. Yeah. Which is for the greatest good of everyone.
Would you also argue maybe like a contentment with what we have?
Right. Yeah. Because the things that are truly good and worth pursuing don't have to be shared. And that is like spiritual goods and love. Yeah. It's not something that you have to fight over.
Yeah.
Like there's only a limited amount of it.
Yeah. I mean, recently I thought we were pretty close until Russia invaded the Ukraine.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's some other hot spots in the world, but yeah, it's just kind of seemed to in some ways escalate since then.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it may get worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
According to the prophecies.
The rumor or the legend or whatever is that Russia thought it was going to be a short war, that the Ukrainians would maybe even want to be part of Russia, and that, that because of the military might, that they would just fold over and like give in. But they obviously, the Ukrainians have given quite a resistance since day one.
And others have been helping them.
And others have helped them, Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the desire for peace is, there's that famous saying, "In your will is our peace, O Lord."
Yeah.
It's by surrendering to the will of God.
Yeah.
And true love, which is willing the good of the other.
Yeah.
Not killing the other to obtain something that I want.
Oh.
And that goes within families, communities, and nations, and between nations.
Yeah. But we also live in a fallen world.
We do, yeah.
And, people are going to still do stupid things.
Right.
And desire things that that are not meant to be theirs.
Right. Yeah, and Our Lady of Fatima actually talked about war, and she said that was during World War I when she appeared, but she predicted World War II, and she said, war is punishment for sin. Yes. In other words, that's really the cause. So if men do not stop sinning, there will be another war that is greater and more terrible than this one.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Very much, yeah.
So really the root of it all is sin and Satan, who desires to kill. He's a murderer through war. Yeah. So I guess that's helpful to know how to pray for an end to war and violence. Yeah. Is by avoiding sin and surrendering to God's will more in our life. Yeah. Saying, your will be done, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah, this episode is a little on the longer side already, but I don't want to go too deep into it. But just, I think we talked about it maybe the previous time, but just a reminder too that, God is in control. And there are things at certain levels that we can't control, that we have. I mean, you could write your congressman, right? Write the president, I guess. Right. But in some ways, we don't have control. Right. And so the best we can do is to pray for our leaders. Right.
Yeah, and prayer is very powerful, not to be underestimated.
Oh, for sure. Exactly. So
like there's many battles in scripture and in history that were won by the power of prayer and faith.
So don't underestimate the power of your prayer in praying for peace.
Yeah, like the Battle of Jericho, where they marched around.
Yes.
And the priests led them.
Yeah.
Which means this was a liturgical action of praying to defeat the enemy. Yeah. And then the Battle of Lepanto, where the storm came up because they all knelt down and prayed the rosary.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
And so the intercession of Our Lady in defeating the enemy. Yeah.
So anything else that we need to say?
I think that probably covers it. If you have other questions or topics that you'd like us to discuss, and we can try to joke around about them too, if you want.
Leave them in the comments. Right. I don't know if those are so much. Those are the kind of serious topics, so I don't know if we joked around as much as we usually do. But But anyways, well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Catholicism Unwrapped.
Yes, and in all things, Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam.
God bless.
Okay.
Okay.
Toast. Toast. Okay, I hit the end.
Do we have any more fiddling around to do? What does that mean? Fiddle around? Like, did people like play fiddles when they were trying to waste time?
I think they wore fiddlebacks.
Oh, maybe that's it. What?
I think there's also a fern that's called a fiddle fern or something like that. But that's because the end of the leaf looks like the fiddle end.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with like fiddling around? Like fiddling around is like wasting time, right?
Yeah. Maybe it's related to playing the fiddle. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
We'll have to look it up.
My favorite instrument to listen to is the violin.
Not the fiddle.
No. Is there a massive difference? Probably not.
Well, the fiddle is more like bluegrass music and what Pa Ingalls played for entertainment in the family home.
Okay.
On Little House in the Prairie.
Great. Little House in the Prairie.
Haven't you seen that?
No. Maybe I've seen like clips, but I've never really watched. Really? Am I missing out on something?
Well, probably. When I had COVID, they had a marathon of Little House in the Prairie on Hallmark, and I watched almost every episode because it went through the night. So I would like fall asleep in the chair, wake up at 2, watch another episode.
Wow. COVID was such fun times.
Yeah, right. Except for being sick. Otherwise, it was great.
We did so many massively useful things with our extra time.
Right.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Okay, should we start?
2 minutes in of nothing.